back to Cooking with Gloria. Today, I want to share with you how I prepare and make my beef fillets. How I do it, because sometimes you go to the supermarket and you want to buy flat meat to make carne asada outside in the grill, and the pound is very expensive, and I want to show you how I do it here at home. So, first things first, my apron is on, my hands are clean, and I am ready to show you my ingredients. This big piece of chuck roll, neck off. And you know something, I want to show you how I fix it here at home to make my fillets, to make those thick pieces of meat that I put in the oven, or you know something, when we do our slow cooker or our stools. Well, let me show you how I'm gonna prepare this at home. But you know something, if I could do it, you could do it. Anybody could do it, and you save a little money. So let's get started. I am ready. I have my big piece of meat, and at this moment what I like to do is start cutting all the silver skin and the fattening from the piece of meat. It really takes a long time, but believe me, this really comes out really delicious, and of course without all that extra oils, of course, even better. So what I'm doing here is just taking the silver skin off and the excessive lard that it has right on the outside. The marbling inside of the meat, that's perfect, but you know something, all this marbling we need to remove, because really when you cook it, the marbling doesn't, if you don't take it off, the marbling really doesn't get any soft, and it's really chewy, and it's not tasty at all. So what I'm doing here, I know that it takes time, but I'm going to go ahead and take all that extra fat off, and I'm going to remove all the silver skin right on the top. I know that this really takes time, but believe me, when you start buying your pieces of meat just like that, you really save a lot of money. And you could even make your flat meat, you can make your meat stool, you know, the little chunks of meat, you know, you could really do a lot of things with this big piece of meat. What I like to do is separate all the meat. When I have everything nice and there's no more silver skin and there's no more extra fat that we don't need, I start taking all of that out, and then I start making my little steaks. I like to make thick steaks, thin steaks, you know, barbecue steaks. I really love to make my own, how thick I want it, how thin I want it. Even if I want meat for tacos, then I just cut a big piece and then just chop it in very little pieces. And believe me, when I start pulling everything apart, sometimes there's a lot of fat in between. I'm not talking about the marbling, I'm talking about really fat deposits in the meat of fat, and that's what we want to remove. All of that, we don't need it. So here I'm almost done. Really, it really takes a pretty long time, but you know something, at the end you're gonna say, what a difference. You know exactly how much fat you are leaving behind. Look at the marbling. You could really see the marbling on this piece, and of course you start pulling it apart and you start taking away all that extra fat. all that extra fat we need to take away. As you could see, it's more than that little fat that we need to remove. Just do it carefully so that you don't take too much of the meat off. And here I started making my little pieces of meat for my grilling. They're really nice and thick, grilling, or put them in the in the pressure cooker and make my stools. This kind of meat, that's what I like to do with it. I like to put it in my I like to put the little thick pieces in my pressure cooker, and now I'm making the little steaks for when I'm grilling outside. I like to do it really nice and thin so that when I'm wanting to do carne asada outside and just use the grill, the meat, you just flip it 3 times and then it's done. I like it really nice and thin. Right here, look at this. Look how beautiful this piece is. Something out of this big piece, you could really make a lot of things. I like to even make my little strips for my fajitas, for my beef fajitas. I like to do it really thinly so that when I'm done, I just put them in a Ziploc and then they're ready. Look at this. I have my little strips for my fajitas ready. Look. Remember, you could do it as thick or as thin as you like. And then you just have them ready. Right here, I'm still making some little carne asada for my grill. I'm really making them really thin so that when I'm grilling, I really enjoy this kind of meat, to tell you the truth. And look at it. It's not fanning at all, and it's really nice and thin. And this is exactly what you want. Of course, I'm not a professional. I don't do this all the time, but when I do, I really take my time and I make sure that I offer my family exactly what I know what they like. So here you could use any kind of knife as long that it's a sharp knife. You don't need to have a professional knife to start doing your cuts. Once you start doing it, you get a little hint and you start learning a little more. The more you do it, the more you learn from how to cut it, how to dice them, what pieces are good for your stools, what pieces are good for your tacos. And this is the best part, because you start cutting them and you start already imagining, okay, this is what I'm going to use for my carne asada, for my grills outside. And you choose how thick you want them or how thin you want them. And of course, if you find that there's pieces with a lot of fanning, well, you could just go ahead and remove it. And to tell you the truth, 1 pound of the carne asada, the little steaks, they're about $8 a pound. And when you do it here, of course, you're saving a little bit of money. And that's what everybody is looking forward to do. Here, I'm just gonna remove this silver skin that it has right here. Like I said, the silver skin or the fanning, we don't want to use at all. And I'm going to start cutting these little pieces because I want to make birria. And I'm going to make some pieces for birria too. They're big chunks of pieces of meat. Of course, I have that recipe already on my channel, the birria. So if you want to go and look at that, you'll see the pieces and you'll see what I'm talking about. Well, here I'm just making my little steaks nice and thin. And here I'm preparing the little meat so that I could do delicious tacos de carne asada. That, something, you decide how big you want them or how small you want them, but here you decide. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm cutting my little pieces, little bite pieces, so when I'm doing my tacos for my carne asada, they start cooking and they get so soft. And as you can see, there's not too much fanning in these little pieces. And that's the best part. I'm done completely with the carne asada tacos, the meat for the tacos. Like I'm telling you, I'm already thinking, what am I going to do with this meat? Well, here I have everything. And look at the little pieces. Of course, my counter was really nice and clean. After this, I'm going to wipe everything down with Clorox. But look, everything is completely done. And here I want to show you all the kind of pieces of beef that I cut. And then I just put them in Ziploc and I label them so that when I pull it out of the refrigerator, I know what I'm gonna use those pieces for. I am completely done, and I hope you try it and you do this at home. And of course, you save a little bit of money. And who doesn't want to save some money? Enjoy. Have fun cutting your meat, your style. I am completely done cutting my steaks, cutting my little pieces of meat for the carne asada tacos. You could make so many things with these little pieces of meat, and of course, you have control of all the fat that you could remove from the meats. Here I have this kind of style, little strips for our fajitas, the meat fajitas that we love to make. And of course, when we do slow cooking in our little slow cookers, well, this is a perfect piece of meat, nice and thin, nice and tender, and delicious. And here I have big chunks of pieces of meat where you could do barbacoa, birria, many delicious soups, beef stools, you name it, with these large pieces. And here, of course, I have the carne asada flat meat. Look at this. If you do it at home, you know something? You decide how thick or how thin you want your flat meat to be. I am completely done with all these. Of course, I have double the amount, but I didn't want to show everything in this video. But you know something? This is the only way that we could save a little money and do our own cuts for the different kind of dishes we want to make at home. If you liked and loved my recipe, I invite you to subscribe up, leave me a thumbs up, share my video in social media with friends, with relatives, with your neighbors, so Cooking with Gloria keeps growing. Don't forget to push the notification bell, and if you did, leave it activated so every time I make a new recipe or something like I did today and I love to share with you, you are going to be notified. Before I say I see you soon, I wish you nothing but the best. Peace and love. And of course, I will be staying thinking what's going to be my next recipe. So I'll see you in my next recipe. Delicious, easy to make. So I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.